The title of my talk, for those of you who maybe aren't aware of it, is actually the end of the Beatles album, Abbey Road. And in the end, the love you take will be equal to the love you make. Now, I'm not going to tell you when exactly I heard this, because you'll figure out how old I really am. 74. It's okay. You guys. But that phrase kept going over and over in my mind. It caught my attention. And the love you take is equal to the love you make. Where have I heard that before? Well, having two Unity ministers as parents can give you a hint where I might have heard it at home, and in community, in spiritual community, I've heard it through the years. It is the golden rule. As you do unto others, so it is done unto you. Love yourself and love your neighbors as yourself. We are the embodiment of love in this life, each and every one of us. Do you believe it? Yes. Do you show it? Yes. All of the time? Welcome to the human race, So I wanted to mention to all of you who are here today, if you haven't gone online and listened to Amy and Jesse's talk from last Sunday, run and listen. It is brilliant. They kicked off our love revolution perfectly with a talk about forgiveness and how we forgive and therefore open the space for us to love even more. It was so perfect to have, after our Saturday experience of Healing the Past, Creating the Future workshop that we called the DNA of Unity of Naples. It was an amazing experience. I'll tell you more about as we go on. But I wanted to start out by saying that as you say, and the love you make is equal to the love you take, what happens within you? What happens to your energy? Anything? It increases, doesn't it? Wait a minute, I can be curious about this. Okay, what exactly does that mean, and how does it affect me right here and right now? Well, I was in college during the time I heard that, and what was going on is Time magazine had the cover, God is Dead. And I'm thinking, well, wait a minute, that doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't feel like we should be experiencing what we're experiencing right now in the world without a power greater than our thoughts and our emotions and our beliefs. So, do you mind putting up that slide for me? So here's who we are. In Unity, we say we're whole, perfect, and complete, just as we are. So just as we are is personality, shadow, and true essence. That's that part of us, that spiritual part of us that remains constant and true no matter what the drama or circumstances are around us. But it's coded by the shadow. And the shadow is who we are afraid we are. That's what we've got to hide away. We can't let anybody see that. We should never be vulnerable. We'll lose our power. How many of you have thought, oh, I can't admit I was wrong? Then I wouldn't be a leader anymore. Well, you see what that kind of leadership gets us, don't you? On top of the shadow is personality. That's who we pretend we are. Personality and shadow are part of our ego. And ego stands for what? Edging God out. I do like those quick sayings that catch me and remind me what we're here to do together. is we're here together to listen, to love each other, and to agree to disagree if need be in love. For that is the highest vibration, that and gratitude, that we can express. So how do we express love in a very meaningful way? Meditation is the greatest thing that you can do for your mind and for your body, to allow your spirit to really come alive into life. Doesn't matter that I'm 74 and, I'm not going to run any more races, darn. Thank you, God. So grateful for arthritis. No, I am. Because it gives me more time to do what I love. And to do what I love is to be with people, awakening them to the truth of who they are. You're not your personality. Those are just the masks you've put on throughout your life to feel safe in the world. You're not your shadow. That's just a fear, a chatter, an old belief, a limitation somebody placed in you that isn't the truth of who you are. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. A human experience in a world governed by spiritual laws. Do you believe it? I mean, really, really, really believe it? Okay, so how many of you are worried about paying your bills this month? Okay. Do you believe you have enough? So it takes a shift, as Jesse said last week, in perception. Remember that darling story he told us about Ellie? And how Daddy Wisdom helped her to shift her perspective of what she was experiencing at the time. That's what we're all called to do. And we're all called to be a friend to each other, especially here at Unity of Naples. This is a community that love is growing and expanding and building. And to do so, we had to look at personality and shadow in order to reveal the truth of what is here, that we're a community that loves. We are a community that gives. We are a community that shares. We're a community that enjoys celebrating life, right? And how do we celebrate it? Music is a beautiful way of doing it. Message, classes, we have so many opportunities to be creative for each other in amazing ways. It's hard to keep track of all the things going on in this community, but it's even freer than ever before because of some of the work that was done last Saturday. We had 34 people come together in a process that was deep listening to each other, not arguing, not defending, not denying, but just listening to each other share their experience during all the different eras of ministers. And there are quite a few. So as we listened without arguing, because what each person was sharing was their lived truth, as we listened and we wrote it down, we began to see patterns emerge. And these patterns are just ways that we can redirect our energy to ensure that whoever comes next, or whatever team comes next, or whatever you all decide, that you decide from an informed place, a common ground, if you will. So this is not to shame or blame anybody who wasn't there, because the right people were there doing what needed to be done. But afterwards, it was 6 hours long. People said, "Oh my gosh, I feel so much more energy." Was that really 6 hours? So more will be revealed to you about what occurred during that time. And at the end of the month, February 24th, we're going to do a mission, vision, and core values. Now, I know you've done some of that work before, but guess what? You've never done it free of the past that you are right now. God's calling. Gotta love phones, don't you? We have to be tied to our phones no matter where we are and what we're doing. Or can we shift our perception of that? Because all perception is misperception. Because we can't ever know what another person is really going through. We can't ever know what experience has colored the way they're showing up today. And until we sit down one-on-one and listen to each other's, listen to our souls, we can't create something new, because you can't be the same and have a new experience with whoever comes forward to lead you into the future. You have to be radically different. Do you believe it? So that means we don't point our finger at this person or this era or that era. We know that we all, because we're in relationship, we've all had a part of it. So what we say in unity is that we are part of a three-legged stool: minister, board, and congregation. And so in allowing people to share their lived experience, they can let go of it, right? All we really want to do is to be heard. Some of us demand to be believed, but that doesn't feel real loving. So we have to ask our ego, are you willing to be humble? Are you willing to just step aside and let the unconditional love of God flow through you? Are you willing? What would that do for you today if you were willing to just be love? Not, where am I going to get it? Who's going to give it to me? But you are willing to make love with the world today, to make love with your neighbors. Hey, even make love with those that you think are your enemies, because that's just a false illusion. We're all in it for each other. We are one person with many personalities. We come from the one presence called God, and God is the living spirit of love. Not the emotional love that we might feel for our brother or our sister or our children or our grandchildren, although that's pretty darn special. But it's a different form of love. It is an unconditional love. I don't know about you, but I have throughout my life assessed whether my love was conditional or not. You know, it was real easy for me to love my children unconditionally. Even when they were teenagers. I might have had to swallow a bit, but okay, I can do this, God. And it was easy for me to also love my parents unconditionally, because I could see how much they loved not only their children, but the work in which they were involved in. But, you know, when it got to be my spouse, well, you know, I love him when he... And then one day I said, God, I'm tired of this. I want to know what it's like to love my husband unconditionally. And it was amazing to me what happened. It was like the angel Gabriel came down and said, wake up. This is what unconditional love looks like. And I'll never forget that moment. I'll never forget the way I felt. So that's our practice, is to remember the moments where we had strong feelings and desires, and think about different thoughts that can create that same feeling nature. And then we become a magnet to whatever it is out there that we want to acquire. If it's more money, then believe in the abundance of this universe. How can you look around these grounds and not see what an abundant universe it is? So, you want more abundance? Give a little. Give a little. Spread it around. You want more love in your life? Love a little louder. Love a little more than you believe you can. Stretch. How many of you did Amy's homework assignment from last week, which was to do forgiveness work every day? Okay, I'm taking names. Amy, you take them. No. I did, and I tell you, the whole week was so amazing for me. From what happened on Saturday to the service on Sunday to practicing forgiveness all week, I feel like a bliss ninny. I've been so happy all week. So now I'm going to give you another assignment. Not just yet, but it's coming. And this one will stretch you just a little bit more. But I found, like Amy shared in her meditation and talk, how she was, when she made that commitment to do forgiveness work every day, that she actually caught herself looking for things. Oh, I can ask forgiveness for this later on tonight. Oh, this is good. I'll ask forgiveness of this later on, until she would catch the thought and forgive. And that's the wonderful thing that practicing principles does for us. Because we can say on Sunday, oh yeah, Carla, I believe I'm worthy of love. I believe I'm abundant. I believe that I have everything I need. And then when we leave here and start talking to each other, what happens to those thoughts, those higher vibrational thoughts? We get into some of the lower vibrational thinking. Perhaps one might say, why the heck does she wear shoes like that? You know? What's she talking about? How come she's talking about the Beatles? I want to come alive for you. I want you to know who I am, warts and all. For truly that is the way that we will transform this world, is by taking risks to be vulnerable, by opening ourselves up to love flowing through us rather than our opinion and our blaming of others what they're doing wrong. Each time you blame somebody else for what they're doing wrong, it's really what you're doing to yourself. You're projecting onto others what you can't stand about yourself. That's a tough spiritual lesson to learn, but it's one that will transform your experience of being alive. So I just want to share a few quotes with you today. Charles and Myrtle Fillmore said, "It is the law of spirit that we must be that which we would draw to us. We must be it." Who else said that? There are a lot of masters that have said that through the years. You want love, be love. You know, boy, I argued that one for a long time with spiritual teachers. Really, I'm loving. You see the energy in which I'm coming at, even the topic. Can you love more? Can you love more? Until you break through that prison in your own mind of who you are, that limitation, that box that we keep ourselves in. So be what we would draw to us. If you want to be loved, we must be loved. If you want to be loved, you must be loving and kind. If we want peace and harmony in our environment, we must be it ourselves. In other words, the golden rule, as we give, we receive. It is an exchange of energy all of the time. Maya Angelou said, "Love recognizes no barriers. It jumps hurdles. It leaps over fences. It penetrates walls to arrive at its destination full of hope." And when we left last Saturday, we were full of hope for the future of this community. So, as I close today, I'd like to close with another song that I remember from my youth. And the lyrics go like this: "Love is but a song we sing. Fear's the way we die. You can make the mountains ring or make the angels cry. Though the bird is on the wing and you may not know why. Come on, people now. Smile on your brother. everybody get together and love one another. When? Right now. So now is our time that we prepare to go into meditation. I just realized something before we go into meditation. I didn't give you your assignment. Oh boy, that's not right. So, yeah, I heard that. It's okay, Carla, we don't need an assignment. So Jesus said, you have heard it said that you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say unto you, this is the call that love proposes. Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, so that you may be children of your Father in heaven. For he makes his sun shine on the evil and on the good, and sends rain on the righteous and on the unrighteous. In other words, God is love. And all of us are worthy of love. All of us, every one of us. So you can't say we're all one and that we are nurturing and expanding our understanding of being the embodiment in love until you love everyone in certain ways. So that's your practice this week. Are you willing? Are you going to let me know? Okay. So now let's go into our time of meditation.